Robots have been a concept that human beings have been fascinated with for decades, be it in novels, designs, games, films, or trying to create our new robot overlords. But one concept of robots that always leads to interesting and thought-provoking stories is that of cyborgs. The combo of man and machine working in sync to become something greater just lends itself to some truly engaging films. The idea of being as smart as a machine and also being able to bust some heads while getting to live forever is something a lot of people can get behind. And one of the greatest cyborg stories of all time is that of the ultimate police officer, Robocop.
Your move, creep.
The future of law enforcement. Robocop.
Robocop is a 1987 action movie film directed by Paul Verhoeven and stars Peter Weller as Alex Murphy, aka Robocop. It's set in the near future where Detroit has become fucked up altogether with crime, and a giant corporation is trying to replace the city with a new one called Delta City 1. But in order to do this, they must first clean up the crime in Detroit. But that's easier said than done, as a local gang led by Clarence Broddicker is wrecking the place. Who can possibly save the city from this gang? Our movie film begins as we meet Alex Murphy as he's transferring to the Detroit police force, where things aren't going so great for them. The lads are dropping like flies, and the remaining police force wants to go on strike. But Murphy wants to make a good impression on his first day and hit the ground running, so he suits up. But first he has to meet his new partner, Anne Lewis, who is busy kicking some ass. After the two of them have a quick "how's it going, what's the story with you?" they head off on patrol. Meanwhile, over at OCP, they are looking for the next breakthrough in law enforcement, and Dick Jones has just the thing to help with that. This massive beige to Ed 209.
How are you getting on? It's myself, 209. Are we having a bit of a boardroom?
They try to demonstrate him, but a bit of a glitch happens.
Is that a gun I see, Scan? Put the gun down, Scan, or I absolutely leather you.
Hashtag dush to fuck.
I absolutely leather you.
Well, it looks like it's back to the drawing board for ye lads. Or maybe go-getter Bob Morton's new Robocop program might be just the thing they need to bust some heads on the Detroit streets.
Tell me about your plan, Mr. Morton. How long will it take?
We're ready to go, sir. We've restructured the police department and placed prime candidates according to risk factor. I'm confident that we can go to prototype within 90 days.
Good, very good. Get your staff together, Mr. Morton. I'll expect a full presentation in 20 minutes.
Well, while one of these possible candidates is busy spinning his gun about the place and getting a spot of coffee, that son of a bitch Clarence and his gang have robbed a bank.
You burnt the fucking money!
Ah, Jesus, Clarence, you get as angry as Red Foreman.
I wish I had 2,000 feet so I could put 500 of them in each of your asses!
Clarence and the boys are intercepted by Murphy and Lewis, and a high-speed shootout begins. The lads riddle the shite out of the police car, but that ain't stopping Murphy. With nothing else working to get the cops off their tail, Clarence goes with the tried and true technique of throwing a bobby at your enemies.
Can you fly, Bobby? Clarence, no!
Having just been stopped by a flying bobby, Murphy and Lewis let Clarence and the gang get away. But don't worry, because Murphy and Lewis somehow managed to track them down to an abandoned factory. Splitting up to cover more ground, Lewis gets the drop on one of the thugs, only to get distracted by his dick being out and about the place and ends up getting bushed. Don't worry, she's not dushed, she's only going sleepy time for a while. Across the factory, Murphy gets the drop on some thugs and ends up dushing one of them, and shows just how badass he is to the other.
Go ahead and do it. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
But sadly for Murphy, the rest of the gang get the drop on him and he ends up getting captured.
Your ass is mine.
Jesus, why don't you buy the man some dinner first? Clarence shows up and I'm sure he's going to tell the lads to let Murphy go peacefully. Fuck, I was wrong. I was so fucking wrong. They're fucking riddling the shite out of him. Oh, he's fucking dead. Oh, he's dushed to fuck.
Okay, let's get out of here.
But don't worry about Murphy, cause he may be dushed, but this lad is about to get a major upgrade from the Robocop program. How much of an upgrade, you ask? I'll let Bobby Boy tell you.
You're gonna be a bad motherfucker.
Murphy has been transformed into the absolute unit known as Robocop, but he has some built-in directives to keep him from becoming a loose cannon. 1. Serve the public trust. 2. Protect the innocent. 3. Uphold the law. And a super mysterious 4th one that we don't even know about. But don't worry, I doubt that one will show up later on. With Robocop now in the force, he decides to hit the streets and start busting some heads. In just one night, he stops a robbery, makes sure a rapist ain't going to rape no more, and bursts right through a wall, putting a stop to a hostage situation. Come on, Robo, get the fuck out there! With Robocop being such an unreal lad and busting so much heads in, our old pal Bob Morton has been going places. Right to the VIP bathroom area, that's where. Now he can wreck a toilet in style. But it turns out he's been making enemies about the place as Dick Jones doesn't like his lack of respect. Dick gets a bit touchy-feely with Bob and tells him not to fuck with a man whose name is Dick.
Fucked with the wrong guy.
Out of your fucking mind.
Meanwhile, Robocop is having some sleepy time, but he seems to be having a bit of a night terror.
Cobras!
Having just been spooked by his night terror, Robo decides he needs a spot of fresh air. But while making his way outside, he bumps into Lewis, who is like, "Here, I know who you are, lad." She says, "Murphy, I know it's feckin' you. I seen you do the spinny trick with the gun earlier at the shooting range." Not really having a fucking clue what Lewis is on about, Robocop heads off to do a couple of laps of the town. While out and about the place, Robo bumps into Emil from Clarence's gang, who is a bit shocked when he hears Robo repeat Murphy's line to him.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
But Emil seems to recognize Robocop as well.
I know you.
He tells Robo that they dushed him again and again, but that has as much effect on Robocop as this feckin' explosion does. Look at that badass walk out of that fire. Not a bother to him at all. He even manages to shoot the fuck out of Emil's bike and feckin' bushed him. Emil has also seemed to have sparked something in Robo's big metal head, as he really wants some answers now. So he heads off to the police station, and after hacking into the police records, he comes across the man who dusted Officer Alex Murphy. A light bulb bursts in Robo's head as he begins to think maybe that Lewis one wasn't a fruitcake after all, and maybe he feckin' is Murphy. So he heads off to scope out his old house and has some flashbacks to times when he was there with his wife and son. But Robo gets rightly pissed off when he can't fully remember a spot of riding he had with his wife and takes it out on this poor telly. Needing to relieve some stress, Robo hits the club where he bumps into Leland Palmer on the dance floor, and you bet Leland has some moves. But instead of throwing some shapes at Leland, he throws some slaps and the search for Clarence continues. Meanwhile, Bob is snorting his new promotion right up his nose until Red Foreman busts into the house with the ultimate dickhead line.
Bitches leave.
Clarence shoots the shite out of Bobby Boy before playing a home movie from Dick Jones.
Hello, buddy boy. Dick Jones here.
Basically, Clarence is here to send a message to Bob that no one fucks with Dick. And it looks like this isn't Bobby's day, as his whole feckin' house gets blown sky high. Hashtag dushed. The next day, Robocop knocks down the door on a drug deal Clarence is trying to make and begins to kill everything that moves. You're dead, and you, oh look, another, and another, fucking everyone is dead. Just look at the fucking skill this man is displaying. He didn't even have to fucking look at that one. After Robo has killed everyone else in the building, it's down to just him and Clarence, who spills the beans after Robo busts the face off him.
I work for Dick Jones. Dick Jones! He's the #2 guy at OCP.
Robo wants to dush the fuck out of Clarence, but he's forced to uphold the law, so Robo arrests Clarence and heads off to get him some dick. When Robo arrives at OCP to arrest Jones, he runs into a bit of a problem. It turns out this slippery bastard Dick Jones installed the secret fort directive.
It's a little insurance policy called Directive 4. My little contribution to your psychological profile. Any attempt to arrest a senior officer of OCP results in shutdown.
Well, fuck. And wouldn't you know it, Ed 209 is back about the place and he's here to bush the face off Robo.
209 himself, back in action, ready to roll. How are you, Robo? How are we going to have a scrap? Go on here to give the girl bursting for you. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, Jesus, I made a right mess of it. Oh, Jesus, the fucking state here. Oh, you fucking bastard. Robo, stop it. Come here to me, will you please? I cry. Oh, no, the stairs. No! No! I cry on the stairs, Robo. Come here to me, will you please? Just let me up with my friends, please.
Bush to fuck, Robo runs into the rest of the police force, who totally betray him by riddling the absolute shite out of him. But Robo manages to get away with some help from Lewis. Sometime later, Clarence, looking sharp as fuck, pays his new bestie Dick Jones a visit. But Jones isn't pleased that Clarence is a tattletale.
You involved me. You're gonna have to kill it.
So he tells him to get the feck out there and find Robocop and dushed him for good. It turns out that Robocop and Lewis are hiding out in the factory where Murphy was killed. Nothing grim or weird about that at all, but hey, they had the set, so they might as well use it. Robocop takes off his helmet to finally get a look at his own face. Jesus, Murphy, you have a face on you like a burst mattress. Or as Arnie would say,
"You're one ugly motherfucker."
As Robocop looks at his own burst face, Clarence and his boys have gotten themselves some new toys and are totally ready to hunt down Robocop. Meanwhile, Robocop's targeting system is bushed, so Lewis helps him find his groove again.
Are you locked in now?
Yes.
I figure that's dead on.
Thank you.
But there's no time to waste, as Clarence and his boys show up having tracked Robocop down. But this time it's Robocop's turn to get the drop on them, and he riddles the fuck out of one of them. Those Those guns have scopes on them, lads. Fucking use the scopes. Stop trying to no-scope them. Robo begins to lay waste to the gang and even helps Emil go for a nice warm bath in some toxic waste. Jesus, if you go headfirst into some toxic waste, you really want to end up coming out all jacked up like the Toxic Avenger, instead of becoming roadkill like poor Emil does. After splattering the fuck out of poor Emil, Clarence goes too fast and furious and ends up wrecking his car, but still somehow manages to shoot Lewis. But don't worry, cause Robo shows up walking on water like he's Jesus fucking Christ. But he's not here to pray for Clarence, as he's here to kill the fuck out of him.
I'm not arresting you anymore.
Hey, now wait a second.
But oh shit, he left Leland Palmer still alive, and that mental case drops a shit ton of steel on Robo. But then he gets blown the fuck up by Lewis. Clarence, clearly angered by the loss of all his friends, goes in for the kill on Robo, but makes the same mistake Thor did.
You should have gone for the head.
Oh, he got it right in the fucking neck. There'd be no fixing that now. Hashtag dushed. But the movie film isn't done yet, as there's still a dick to be spanked. So Robocop heads to OCP headquarters and runs into his good old friend Ed 209.
I'm back again. You thought you got rid of me, but I couldn't be bait.
But this time he's prepared for the bait.
Whoa, what's going on here now?
And he blows him the fuck up. Robocop barges into the boardroom ready to bust him some dick, but with the fourth directive stopping him, he reveals Dick's plans to the board.
I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake.
Dick, clearly having none of this, picks up the conveniently placed gun and holds the old man hostage. But Dick, I have some bad news for you.
You're fired.
Thank you.
This allows Robocop to shoot him right out the feckin' window. Hashtag dushed. After getting a thumbs up from the board, Robo was asked what his name is.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name?
Murphy.
And the movie film is dushed. I seen Robocop at a very young age and was blown away by how good it is. I was probably too young to see it at the time, but my dad thought that it was best that a 12-year-old see a gory film from the 80s, and I'm so happy for his parenting skills. I consider Robocop one of the best action sci-fi films of all time and rewatch it nearly every year. It just never gets old. From its great story and characters to its many memorable set pieces, Robocop is an action film that delivers on all fronts. Its over-the-top violence and just mental concept could only have come from the 80s. But while super gory at times, it is a film with a lot of heart that puts forth the question of what makes someone truly human. Its great action set pieces might draw you in, but its characters will grab your attention. Its use of satire in its adverts and overall depiction of future America give the film a light-sided touch to counter the more gruesome bits. And this film has some truly creepy moments, such as Emil going into the toxic waste and Ed 209 stop-motion effect making him look so much creepier than he would in CGI. And for a character who's mostly covered in the majority of the film, Peter Weller's performance really brings a lot to it. When he was replaced in part 3, it really felt like something was missing. He just has the right voice and presence for the character. Kurtwood Smith is great as Clarence Boddicker. He really comes across as a right prick, and this is something that he would lean into while playing Red Foreman in That 70s Show. He is such a slimy bastard, and you really want to see Robocop get his revenge on him and his gang, and it makes him such a memorable villain. And the rest of the cast, from Nancy Allen as Lewis to Ronnie Cox as Dick Jones, do a great job in their roles. But if there is one character that truly stands out in the film, it's this absolute legend.
Buy that for $1.
I have no fucking clue what that show is even about, but everyone seems to feckin' love it. And can we all just agree that the Robocop theme is one of the best feckin' themes of all time? The design of Robocop is timeless. There is a reason why he's still popular today and appears in other forms of content, from comic books to video games like Mortal Kombat 11. The 2014 remake showed that when you try to tone down a concept like this and not lean into the madness of it, you end up with just your run-of-the-mill PG-13 action film, and that is something that shouldn't happen with Robocop at all. I mean, did they not learn anything from the third one? He has a feckin' jetpack in that one. Why has he got a feckin' jetpack? Robocop is a movie film that any action or sci-fi film fan should really have in their collection. It's not just one of the best action films from the 80s, but one of the best films of all time. And if you haven't seen it yet, seriously, what are you doing? Get out there and watch it. You won't be disappointed. I'd give Robocop 10 out of 10 Horshes.